Draw simple, easy.
Well, hello there guys. Today we're going to be drawing a quick, simple, easy picture of Franky from One Piece. Now with Franky, he's got massive arms, a massive cyborg modified body. So I want you to go ahead and draw a really small circle right in the center of your page. And we're going to use this as the starting point for Franky's head. Now I'm making the outline a bit thicker than the bottom part of my circle. And I'm going to go ahead, split that circle in half through the middle, get a center line that's going to drop an extra half of the circle's height down. So I'm going to drop to around about here. And I'm just going to shape that very roughly into a face. So I'm coming straight off down the side, going into a vague point towards the bottom, not all the way towards the bottom. And that's just going to be our Franky face area. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's so far away. We've got a lot of distance going on. Now, with Franky, he has all these various haircuts and styles he does, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to go just below the center line. And I'm just going to draw in a triangle shape right here, and that's going to be Franky's metal nose, like so. So if you just imagine a big long triangle that goes down and goes off into a point, and then a straight line from the top of the nose. So this is just below our center line, and these are going to be his shades. So I'm just going to create a point down here, 1, and a point down here, 2. As simple as that. We'll give him a great big grin where we use the bottom of our circle line. Just make sure you can see that nice and clearly. Yes, you can. Bottom of our circle line, just around here. It's going to be a great big Franky smile. Just like this. I'll put a line in the middle just to show some teeth. And then we're going to have a line just below the bottom lip, just to show that that lip's sticking out. And Franky, of course, has a treble chin instead of a double. So when we've got the face coming down here, I'm going to create 1, 2, 3 points for his chin. Excellent stuff. He also has some quite clear sideburns, which will just make sure can be seen on the edges. And then halfway between the shades and the top of the head, we'll just put a little line in that shows his hairline. He's obviously got blue hair that can transform into lots of shapes, but we'll give him the basic close shave cut for now. Excellent. So we've got Franky's face in. That's the quick, easy part. The rest of his body is massive. So if I take the height of Franky's head and I just measure down again about that distance, this is going to be roughly the middle of his chest. And I want you to go ahead and be really, really generous. We're going to create a massive box right off the bottom of his head. I'm going to come out to around about here and do the same thing on this side around about here. So if you imagine, this is about 4 or 5 heads wide already. This is really big. We're going to be looking at him fairly far away. And now that I've got this box in place, I'm going to have the body slightly off to the left. And I'm going to go ahead and create this really big wide neckline. So I'm going to go from about the middle of Franky's jawline, and I'm going to come straight out towards the side of this box, and then I'm going to go even higher up on this side, up by the ear, and go out towards the side of this box here, just as a bit of a guiding point. Now if we get this into quarters, get another line down here and a line down here, just so we know what we're up to. Most of Franky's chest is going to center around this pillar here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to go in number 2 space. So I'm going to imagine the main part of the body exists in this zone, and for that we're going to have a few sort of basic bits. A neckline that comes down towards that middle point here, and then maybe another sort of line up here, and same, just showing all these big modified muscles because he's obviously keeps changing himself and working on himself like a mechanic. And then if I split this box into about 3 particular zones, this top zone is going to be the chest. So we'll get a standard, maybe great big pectoral shape in here that just branches down right along this whole quarter zone and up. And then another great big one that does the same thing down on this side. Slightly more foreshortened on the left because it's further away from this, so it's not quite as wide as this one would appear to be. And we'll get, of course, a collarbone that goes in with the top line of this box, and another one that goes off like so. And then the rest of Franky's shape just needs to be filled in. So where we start from this really wide zone, this top 2/3 that we've got here of this particular shape will be the really wide rib cage. So I'm going to just create this branching circular arc there, And then I'm going to do a really similar thing here, close to this particular line. So the first 1, 2, 3 columns of space, and then the 1, 2, third part down, I'm going to branch out from there as well, nice and wide and deep, just like so, coming out of the edge, and then it's all going to shoot down fairly easily for the part of Franky's waist. That's going to come in a touch like so, and then I can just imagine a zone that is below the arc of the top of the chest here, and then it just kind of follows its way down like so. This is our main abdominal area for Franky, and again that's just going to be split down the middle because we've got these great big abdominal muscles, one there, another ab there, and I'm just doing this by drawing in these really rough, slightly rounded squarish shapes just to give an idea of where his muscles are. And then with each bit round here, I'm also going to just put in some lines for the ribs. So just one here for this row, another one here, and then a bit down there for the bottom of the chest. And a really similar thing here, just a line that shows here, down here in level, and then where the chest comes in down there. And don't forget, because Franky is an artificial modified person, we're going to have his stitching lines as well. And these lines just map the body, they come down from the top, they go right over the middle of the pec, so it's going to round and bump a bit, and then they come down the side of the body like so. There's a line there, and then a really similar line from up here, just comes out and around this particular, and then down the side as well. And this is going to be covered in the stitch marks, where he's been artificially put together. Goodness knows how he actually works on himself. Must be incredibly painful, but we just assume we know what he's up to. And that's how massive we've got Franky's body in proportion to his head, one of the biggest characters in One Piece. But now we need to actually get those arms in, and they are really big as well. So we're going to start from the shoulders, and we're going to just put in these really big shoulder circles. We're not going to actually see much of them in the end. I'm going to imagine a great big circle, something around about here, shaped like this. You'll notice that it is really, really big. It would barely just about fit in the center of the chest. And so I'm just going to do a really big one right over here as well. Why the hell not? And this one I'm going to make a little bit higher. I'll have one arm perhaps higher than the other. And I'm using lots of little strokes to get a good circular shape in. I'm not trying to draw it all at once. Helps me map out where everything is. And then from there we can block out the main part of his arms, which are these great big rectangles for his forearms. He's the closest thing to a big Popeye character. So I'm going to imagine that both arms are upright in a big guarded position. So I'm going to just map out a very large, very loose rectangle box shape. So I'm going to do that by just imagining around about here that we're seeing a box from an angle. I'll get a flat line off of here, but we're going to have an inside edge up here and just have a go at getting a slightly three-dimensional rectangular box. Something like this will be the guiding point. Don't be shy about it, be really big, and you'll notice this one is covering a lot of the circle here, and I'm going to do pretty much the same thing in the other direction here. I'm going to have another big box higher up because this shoulder's higher up, but doing a very similar thing. So maybe I'm just going to get the angle in about here. Bottom of the box again will be fairly level off of here, something like so, trying to make it just as big as the other one, and then we'll have loads of the side of the angle maybe coming right up here as well. Get that nice big box shape in. Again, that's a very loose guideline, but it gives you idea. And then we can put the hands in as well on the top. We're going to have these big Franky fists. So what you can do, if you imagine that the fists are going to come out of the middle top part of the box here and here, you can just draw in a very large kind of shape just to map it out. I'm going to imagine this great big circular bump comes out of the top here on either side, and that's going to be the zone where we're going to be fitting in the fist. Now it's going to come up, and this can be a little bit difficult at first, but you do really get used to it. We're going to have it be a bit flattened off around the top part. This is where the knuckles are, the top edge, and we're going to have a load of fingers, really big ones that curl in. So I'm going to start from a lump at the bottom down here like so. And the reason I have this is we have the thumb side around about here, and then the rest of the fingers coming in over. And I'm going to split it down the middle, and I'm going to imagine one great big curled finger there, and split it again so we've got 4 spaces. 1, 2, and then on this side as well, splitting that curve, 3, and then this one, the 4th one, is probably going to, we'll see a bit of the side of it as well. So I'll let that curl all the way in, maybe a few lines here just to map out the shape, and then the thumb is right about here, just covering the rest of it. So it's just going to be a tube that covers just over the first 2 parts of the finger, comes round and in to create the rest of the hand. And there's loads of lines where everything's folding in with Franky's fist, so you can kind of map out the shape there. That kind of gives you the idea. The rest of the box, we just curve off this shape for his forearms, just like so. Just like so. Slightly curve that out. Just like that, we've got most of that space. Curve that out as well. Mapped in. So same with this hand on this side, a very similar thing. I'm going to flatten off near the top where the knuckles are going to be. I'm going to imagine this big rolling cylinder curve shape round about here for the hand. I'm also going to map in where it actually comes out of the forearm. The part of the hand is there, just a bump that goes up and in. Then we go down and out again where the thumb might be. So I'm going to split this in half, most of the way down. Do that again here. Do that again here. And so this first finger curls all the way in, and we've got the second from the knuckle curling in, then the third, then the pinky, all the way around. Again, we're going to see the edge, so I'm going to flatten off a bit here, so that this one curves in, creates a spiral all the way up, and then a few lines here, just to show the shape of things, and again the thumb goes on top around about here. Great big, confident cylinder shape, it's going to cover everything else. This of course branches out and then into the rest of the hand like so. A few lines just to indicate what's going on. And that's the most difficult part really out of the way. Other than that, it gets really easy joining all these shapes together. So just under the arm here, you get a bit of a joint that's some sort of elbow or mechanical lever part. So I'm just going to draw a circle down the bottom of there. I'm going to give it a bit of an edge around here, and then a bit of a extra circle line just inside of there, just to show a bit of mechanical function. I'm going to have it join on to this circular part of the shoulder, just about here. You can barely see it, just coming in maybe around about there, like so, and just draw a line in there to show that there's something happening with the tops of the arms. Really similar on this side. I'm just going to create this box shape so that it's slightly wider at the top than it is at the bottom, ever so slightly, like just slightly curving off this shape, just slightly adding a tiny bit of curve to each of these lines that we've created, like so. And again, bring this one in ever so slightly down here. Lovely. Obviously, just map out the top as well, just like so. And then once again, another kind of joint I'm going to have just around about here. So this arm's coming towards us. And again, maybe a line about there. And a slightly foreshortened circular shape, just to show that there's a joint going on there. Again as well, just another kind of arc there, just to show a bit of the forearm, just so that we're looking on at it. And then I'm going to snap the end of the lead off of my pencil really quickly, just so it's a bit sharper again. And we can work on some other bits really quickly as well. So let's get his really loud shirt in. I'm going to start around about here. And this doesn't have to be perfect because it's flapping in the wind. It can be any part of the design you like. I'm just going to create this kind of flap that kind of comes out round about here. And then it's going to come up and back here. I'm just drawing how the shirt is unbuttoned, just catching the wind, creates most of the shape right up around about here. And then there'll be a tiny bit of Franky collar as well. Maybe I'm just going to go out here, bring that in, go out again, and then bring that into the shirt. So here's a bit of a shirt here. We can bring it in from the back as well, just showing it's flapping around by giving it any old curve down there. And we can do the same thing on this side. Now I'm going to bring this back muscle up a little bit there, just to show it's really connected to this great big circle here. And then the shirt again, we're going to worry about after we've got this front part of the shoulder out the way, because this is in front of everything. So here's this great big Franky shoulder circle, up and around. Now, there's going to be a bit of a area on here where you can see some yellow at the very top. So I'm just getting a stripe in at the top, and I'll just put a stripe in around about here as well, just to match what you would see. Get the top of that in. And then there's also a joint. So I'm going to create this joint by following this curve here, but just bringing it further into the left. I'm just going to create another zone right round here. Disappears off into the circle there. And that's just going to have some bolts right along it. So just fill that full of circles as you go around. Now we can get the rest of the shirt in. So a bit of collar comes off the back perhaps, and then down and around. And again, this is just going to kind of come in for me and then wave out again, just because it's kind of catching the wind, so to speak. I'll just get that shape on. So a bit of the collar goes down, out and in, and the rest of it is just that wavy shape. So we can kind of go up and down and out, anything you want really, as long as you create some lines that brings it all back together, shows what the material's up to, maybe just a little bit at the back as well to show it's waving in. Now this shirt, rather annoyingly, is a bit difficult because it's covered in palm trees. So go ahead and just draw any old kind of star shape that you want on here, and then just draw a line off the bottom of the star. Get a vague palm tree design in. That certainly doesn't have to be perfect. No one's really going to look at it, but just get the rough fact that his shirt has that design and that you're aware of it. So we'll just throw a few bits in there and there. Fortunately, you don't need to do that on the inside edge, but we'll get a few palm tree-ish shapes just by that simple design coming down here. These loud Hawaiian shirts, what are you going to do about it? Here and here. Right up there as well. Lovely. And then going to have to fit some more in there and down here. I think that's just about done the trick. And then the last bit is we've got these half stars on his forearms as well. So when he puts his arms together, they create this really cool star effect, which means we need half stars right on the outside edge of his arms. So I'm going to go ahead and about 1/3 of the way up here, just going to draw a line in down this side, same thing on this side, and I'm going to bring that line all the way down to about the middle, and just show again that there's a point coming off there. So just in one, down and off and up. Same thing up here. In one to the middle, and then another point just coming off of there. And ideally it's just going to create a point off to the top as well, if we can. Just to get that star shape when it's together. These parts are blank, kind of in shadow as well, because the light will be coming from the top. But there we have it, everybody. Let's check. That's all still in frame. Lovely. That was maybe not the quickest, simplest, easy of them, but that is how you get yourself a nice, quick, simple, easy Franky out the way. Maybe there's some numbers and letters here. I think it's an 8 and a 7 in this common picture of Franky that you can probably just spy on the inside edge, but we'll worry about that in a moment. I'm going to drop into some time lapse and put some ink on top of this so that you can see which lines we're keeping and which ones we're throwing away, and I'll see you right at the end. And there we go, a nice quick simple picture of Cyborg Franky from One Piece. So I hope you guys have had a go at home. If you have, you can always like my Facebook page and submit your artwork on there, or follow me on Instagram and all the other things. Otherwise, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and do click subscribe for more videos in the future. I'm going to go ahead and scan this in and give a light blue colour for the forearms, dark blue for the stars, pink for the palm area, and dark red pink colours for the shoulder circles, the main bits of the fingers, a lighter red part of his Hawaiian shirt, and a skin flesh tone with blue hair. That Franky cyborg look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time round. Take care.